When I was a kid, I was so intrigued with records and I just wanted to listen to records. My parents bought me Eagle Rock. So that would have been 71 or something like that, I think it was. And I think it was the riff from, Eagle Rock that there was some thing about the guitar. So Mum and Dad got me that guitar when I think it was my seventh birthday. And I got the guitar and I started getting lessons off a gentleman by the name of Enzo Bertoli. And the first lessons were the most discouraging kind of things of my life. Like I wanted to go in there and come out playing like, Ross Hannaford. And he didn't want to teach me just how to play the guitar. He actually said, okay, we're going to learn how to read music. And it was really frustrating for the first 2 or 3 weeks because I didn't understand. I was like, what has all this got to do with music? I just wanted to play. My uncle Mick played the guitar and he played sort of songs, strumming, country tunes. And I just thought that's what I want to do. I don't want to learn what the notes are. I just want to show me some shapes. But my teachers said, nah, we're going to do it this way. And I cracked the code. I remember like the third week, I finally cracked the code and I just could see symbols related to notes. And if you're going to be a working musician, someone's going to throw a piece of music in front of you. Okay, negotiate that. When you're young, you can adapt. And, I loved how music worked. I loved how understanding which direction the sharps went, the flats went, key centers, key signatures, what intervals were. And then also trying to hear them, trying to understand what's the structure of this chord. And I still love that. I find that definitely led me into the next stage of his relationship with me, which was, listening to improvised music. the music asks you to explore. that's what it does. That's the mandate of jazz. It's not playing someone else's shit. It's not playing someone else's language. It's learning through the kind of pathway of other great musicians that have come before. But what I got from it, from listening to these people at this age, was that, they don't want you to copy them. Because if you copy them, then you sound just a bad version of them. I got into the Victorian College of the Arts. Everyone was much older than me, 7 years older than me at least. First year was kind of hard because everyone was so much better than me. It was sort of like up the ante. And some of those players were playing with Vince Jones, and I was like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't even know how to negotiate harmonic language. But it was this immersion that was totally about immersion in that year. At the time, when I heard Bitches Brew, I was like, I don't get this. It doesn't make any sense to me. Then I heard In a Silent Way. I'm like, I don't, But then, you start just getting into it, hearing The Bridge, Sonny Rollins with Jim Hall. I remember one time actually getting it and finding that I could actually start to define narrative. Pat Metheny was a big kind of influence with that because he could tell a story and it would unfold and the ideas would unfold. And then that was a reference point for seeing that in everybody. I could hear that then in Coltrane. Not that I couldn't hear it before, but it sort of just started all clicking. If you want to get really good at this, you have to spend a lot of time on it every single day. I remember it was kind of obsessive. There was a lot of time in one room and, my relationship fell apart. Of course it does. I had no time for anything except for this thing. I was 19, 20. Just all I did was practice the guitar pretty much. And that's, kept, I maybe excessive. It was a little bit excessive, it was 4 hours on scales. It was 8 to 10 to 12 to 14 hours to 16 sometimes hours a day. Like it kind of got a bit absurd. It was almost like I was having competition with myself to how much practice I could do. And then I got my first sort of jazz gig at a cafe called the Blue Moon Cafe on Brunswick Street, where we play every Saturday night. And it was sort of it wasn't my first jazz gig, but it was kind of a quartet, and it was the beginning of, okay, I'm starting to get some gigs playing jazz. I got to meet some musicians that were very important, like Paul Grabowski and people like that, and Ren Walters. I could go and see Ren play. And he said to me, you should start your own band. And start writing music. And we started a band. And we called the band the Jennifers because Ren's had this office and it had this window, and this window looked out, and the billboard of Jennifer Kite was, all you could see was her head. So we were like, what do we call the band? And we looked around, let's call it the Jennifers. My relationship with Jim Mathias sort of started when he was at Box Hill TAFE and I was at the VCA. The first guitar we built was, we took a Steinberger guitar, took the neck off it and built a new body and transformed it into this new sort of beast, which was great. Unfortunately, it was stolen. So that was the first experience of building something with Jim. And then 9 years ago, around 9 years ago, Jim and I were talking, and I said to him, I just want a nylon string. It's the instrument that still for me is the one that it's the go-to. It's the instrument that I feel the closest to because I started on nylon string. And I was so keen to get it off him that when it came to this rosette, is that what they're called, rosette? Yeah. When it came to, he'd completed it and I hadn't even really dried properly and I wanted it and I took it off with my finger. I was like, oh, sorry, Jim, I've wrecked it. And he's like, that's okay. It doesn't, as you can see, it's still there because I was like, no, it's good because I'm going to take it off again. And this is a guitar that I play almost every single day for 9 years, going on 10 years. I can't imagine not playing this guitar. It's sort of like it's my go-to. I get up in the morning, I play it, because I have little rituals that I, read music in the mornings and I love playing classical guitar. I'm not a classical guitarist, but I love doing it. And this is sort of, I can't imagine not playing this guitar. It's sort of, I'll play it until I destroy it, basically, because that's what you do, It got so much better playing it for 10 years too. Like now and Jim's done a bit of tweaking and it's amazing. I really love open strings, and I love how open strings work with fretted notes. So if you work, of course, or something might be something, or might be, I love all that. I mean, that sounds great, the way that you get semitones. I love all of that thing that this instrument does. But also, you know, they're the sounds that I like, the way that it blends. And it's certainly a tuning that probably comes from within the instrument, because the guitars that seem to be in tune with themselves, and I'm talking about pitch tuning, I'm talking about the resonance of the tuning, which I don't understand, but I know when it works, you know, because you can hear that on a piano when it's sort of, some pianos, even when they're in tune, they don't speak or something. And others you go, oh, wow. Guitars are the same. And this guitar does that, you know. I have a couple of others that do, and then I have some that don't. And the Paul Reed Smith does as well. Those sort of things are, I was inspired by certain ways of dealing with sound and space, and certain improvising musicians, not just guitarists. Keith Jarrett was huge in terms of how they place space and how the sounds that they make, because it's not just the chord voicing, the harmony that's generated, it's the touch. You know, it's so much about touch. I think that this instrument, the thing that I love about the electric guitar is, it's bizarre, is that I try and play it like an acoustic guitar. I don't, all of the button pushing devices over there, they are there to kind of conjure up the acoustic imagery that I get from the nylon string. The reverbs, the delays, in terms of if I'm trying to get things like those sort of. I mean, I'm bending the neck a little bit. I'm trying to get it to sort of do this shimmering thing. I'm not using a chorus thing which does that, like putting, it's like delay sort of thing. Using a slight delay and a reverb. Those things are about trying to emulate acoustic qualities more than trying to play an electric guitar. It's an artistry. You've got to follow it through and find your thing. And, Jeff Atchison, Jeff Lang, Ian Moss, Ross Hannaford, they're the real deal, because they go out and play one-nighters every night, and that's where you hear it really happen. And I have to honour that, because that's what music really is. It's not just playing along with a backing track, It's kind of finding, like, all of those musicians sound like them. I'm so into that as I get older. That's all I look for, actually, is the experience of getting blown away, It's so important, I reckon. We've got less imitators, more like people going, oh, that person sounds like them.